Welcome to the reading. My name is Zoe Tuck, and I am zooming in from Nonotuck Land, otherwise known as Northampton, Massachusetts. We are here tonight for, oh, there's Sam. It's so good to see your face, Sam. I miss you. We're here tonight for I believe this is the fourth iteration of Belladonna's Close Distances reading series. And here's my little blurb about the series. Close Distances, the Belladonna reading series for fall 2021 to spring 2022, is an experiment in collaborative curation. A series of guest curators will bring in their own political priorities, aesthetic sensibilities, and communities. Close Distances offers a chance to explore how collaboration can close the distance between geographically far-flung readers, curators, and audiences, while also bringing our distances, which is to say our differences, close enough to reflect. And I wanted to mention tonight James Loop, who is here waving from the corner that says Belladonna series. He's in the Belladonna Nerve Center, and he also kind of is the Belladonna Nerve Center. And I also want to thank Rebecca Ramdan, who's here helping us out tonight. So
I don't think Rebecca made it into the new room yet.
Oh no. Oh no.
I'm trying to get her over. It's okay.
Oh no. Okay, well, there we go.
Okay.
There's Rebecca.
Now we can relax.
Yeah. Well, Rebecca, now that you're joining us, I was just thanking you. Before we get started, I wanted to mention that a traditional part of the Belladonna reading is that people read, but you also get a chaplet. So we don't have the ones for this reading yet, but James, I believe you have the ones from our previous reading are now printed.
Yes, we're publishing roughly within a week of readings, not exactly simultaneously at this point, but I have the 6 from the fall, which look really beautiful here. And we should have chaplets for this reading within a week, and we'll have them up on our website tomorrow. They're really pretty. Get some. You can buy these on the website currently, and all the old ones.
Yeah, so something to check out. And also once they go, I don't know, I think this is a cool thing. Once they go out of print, then they live on in the archive as a freely downloadable PDF. So, okay, that's the chaplets. My co-curator and co-host tonight is Cameron Awkward Rich, whose official bio I will read.
Oh, why? Please don't do that.
Okay. Well, suffice it to say, Cameron is a talented poet, a brilliant thinker, a friend, and just, a good egg. A really good egg.
Thanks, Zoe.
Yeah. And I'll pass it over to Cameron to say some words to you now.
Yeah. In the interest of time, I'm not going to say very much, but I will stretch it out a little bit because it seems to me that people are still finding their way into this new room of ours. So Zoe asked me to co-curate this iteration of the Close Distances reading with her. And I was really happy to do it because I know that we're all very, very sick of Zoom. But I think that it's also true that I feel like I've been at many more great readings over the past 2 years than I was able to go to during my sort of 2 previous years of living in Northampton, Massachusetts. I mean, there are a lot of great poets and writers in Massachusetts, but it's all of us sort of clustered away in the western half of the state. And so it's been really enlivening, actually, to be able to hang out with people who are my friends or the friends of my mind, far flung across the country. So it's really great to be able to pull some of those people here. And the first such person that you're going to hear from tonight is Jari Bradley. And I will read their official bio. But before I do that, I will just say that Jari is somebody who I feel like I've known for almost a decade now, although I think both of us are the kinds of people who tend to hang out on the side of rooms, which means that even though we've been sharing space with each other for nearly a decade, it continues to be the case that I know them best through their work, which is, I don't know, is tender and beautiful and fierce and reliably makes me cry. And so it is my great privilege to be able to introduce some of you to Jari and or to just kind of selfishly get to hang out with their poems for a little while. So Jari is our first reader. They are a Black genderqueer poet and scholar from San Francisco. They've received fellowships and support from Callaloo, Cave Canem, Tin House, the Pittsburgh Foundation, and the Heinz Endowments. Their work has been published in many places, including the Academy of American Poets Poem a Day series, Callaloo, Virginia Quarterly Review, and elsewhere. Jari is currently a poetry editor for Rootwork Journal and is a PhD candidate newly at the University of Houston. So Jari, please take it away.
Thank you so much, Kim. I really appreciate it. Hello, everybody. It's good to be with you all tonight. Yeah, I just want to thank the Belladonna reading series. Thank you, Zoe. Thank you, everybody involved. It really is a pleasure to be here with you all. So I'm gonna read some of these poems that I've been working on and whatnot. Thank you to everybody, all my folks out there in the audience. What's up, y'all? I see y'all. All right. Anyway, poems. Bull Dagger. How the word began raging, a bull between her teeth, the woman who raised me, its red rushing toward the skein of my body's yearning, how I splintered to form under a tremendous nature. The bull's rush through soft tissue and tendon caused a stampede in the wet and steaming parts of myself. I resisted any given nature, becoming both animal and the field, shame and burden, my tongue fattened by blind fury at the enticement of frenzied gods, my fine silt a flood, me, a bountiful river pooling at the feet of another, begging the water to be pulled from my skin, how the word began open as a bull's mouth, all consuming as a rushing tide in the hue of blood, two sharp things like daggers growing at each of my ends. And Amalia, after Ahmad Jamal Johnson, after Linda Gregg. I did not want to become the animal I became, nostrils wet, teeth drawn, elongated at the nail, in that open field and its exchange of day collapsing into night, the wail of his fists against my mother's body. Oh, how the blood made me weep, how I couldn't put it down that this, his heavy hand over heavy hand, is how he expected us to live, us beasts of burden, a wilderness struck down and seeped in the blood. I became the wild and the wild became myself, poised on all four haunches, daring another callous man to resort to, if not the wilderness of his hands, what then? Natural instinct. I wanted both, sovereignty and the gun. As I picked off girl after bobble-headed girl, one by one, their pink, lavender, and coriander dresses soaked at the crown of each ashen knee, as I envied the cold plastic example of it in my hands, to pull and draw from my crotch to punish boy after peasy-headed boy was a small door opening, a singular joy, power, sternness in my grip. It's neon green and bright orange angled after Clint Eastwood on the occasional evenings I was made to suffer. My uncle's irrefutable love for country westerns, back when men were men. And it didn't take me long to figure I was no one's damsel, but the damned. I wanted to know how to wield them, both power and dominance, instead of them wielded against me. As I held the super soaker in hand like the real thing, like basic instinct. Oh, how to bring a body down. Oh, how to bring about another's begging on indecency. A trash bag of black skin flicks behind dirty clothes hidden behind the washer. VHS tapes I sneak after bedtime. My hide is what I risk for pleasure. The whistle of a belt slicing the air for a bodily knowledge. Carnality in the mystery of flesh explored in private. The study of sweat-tinged bodies in those positions. On screen, biting is welcomed, preferred even. This being the way of adults, what makes a grown body shriek, what makes a grown body moan. Laughter too, being a catalyst of ecstasy. Moms Mabley and Paul Mooney, I also sneak in the absence of authority. Their lessons on how to give a white world your black ass to kiss, how to make them like it even. In the wild, for San Francisco and all the other places I've had to live. The fervent draw of a neon awning's sigil, an engine's slow hum in a grease-stained parking lot, the promise of sauced meat dwindled to gristle, then bone, brings me closest to the primal, crepuscular and gluttonous, how my mind turns on the glint of gold in the mouth of a man that reminds me of all the bay niggas I grew up with, their crowns capped in 10 carats, now banished. How my mind uses these units to measure the miles away from home and my forced exile as the torch of a 6-piece hot sears through my memories of the mission and its taquerias, the mixed scent of 40 ounces and piss juxtaposed between broken English and the words slurred out of a body high off a binge against the on and off again flicker of big lantern, red chili oil and dim sum. The night is now forged of hot wings, deep fried, and my longing in the wild for my city, raised among the coyotes and pigeons, hidden among fences that scaled those highways I rode to quell my hunger, primal in its need, as I chewed through the top of the drum till I hit cartilage under a black pitched and endless fluorescence, here where I am defenseless and savage, caught in the carnal essence of banishment, or what ripples through my body without cease as I commence to pick through the small traces of feather and skin tucked between the caverns of my teeth. Primal scenes. My mother's blood ribboned from a busted lip across her chin from the impressioned end of his fist is how I first learned to weep for things pulled from a body. Unmade in my mother's bludgeoned image, the nagging question of her blood across his bony hands, the blood gone to dust between my tiny legs, was another blood-stained gate that lingers like an anthem, the dull history of my tiny body's invasion by the man my mother loved after my father died. I've spent years trying to make sense of these scenes, being born at the hilt of scream after scream after scream. Cruelty is all over the field, where I am splayed by the herdman's hand, his inevitable apparatus of silence. I thought it'd be better than I imagined, his bringing the hammer down, his well-placed blade, its momentary closeness I mistook for intimacy, my head in his hands, telling myself, if I was somebody else, it never happened to me. Love is what led me to the field, is the name used by the hand that bled me and my ill-favored kind. Domestication, a kind of cruelty that bore me into this world, a life of taking it, punishment after punishment, under man and his desire, his way of undoing another, his way of giving flesh another meaning, omission and obedience, something had to die. I was shown just what I was made of, all over. the field. Sumter, amalgam of the undesirable, fat, black, and non-woman, or a black roan wrestling against the bale to question the reason I'd been made to carry was to go against reason, which made me prone to expect more of the field of my circumstances. What right did I have to any miracle? Too heavy to be held, a unique failure to behold. I am still the wild and the body once driven by an austere tending, which too served as a kind of breaking, my bucking against that nomenclature. To exist as both burden and beast was to be born against reason, or to tell this story another way, it never made sense. Just what my body was made to carry as a child, motherless by circumstance. My lone self held up by its color against those nights, eyeing the moon up in that city skyline. Grandma's backyard of collard greens and blackberries shielded me from the ruin of my heft, where I was weightless in her tender field. I left to get closest to a world I had been denied just before she died. Had I stayed, I would have never put it down. Bales of severed dreams bounded at my back, forcing me to buckle at the knee. And I'll conclude on this poem. I never saw a wild thing sorry for itself after D.H. Lawrence, after the great debaters. My self-pity is a wildered anatomy, a body within a body, circling itself, a custom of the hunt, a wild thing holding on to itself by the teeth. How there is no cry after the kill, no apology for the appetite or the heft, for the desire or the longing for what was given or what was taken. This cyclical relationship between my life and my shame is all-consuming, my body as the animal and its unagreeable signs. Thank y'all so much. Appreciate the time.
Thank you so much, Jari. That was amazing. Those last three especially. I'm going to continue to be speechless and pass it over to Zoe, who's going to introduce our next reader.
Oh, it's a smooth transition. Cameron.
Thank you. I'm very smooth.
Yeah, notable for smoothness. Next reader. Wow, that was amazing. As to will be our next reader, Chase Berggrun, who is a trans woman poet and the author of Red, Birds LLC 2018. Her poems and essays have appeared or are forthcoming in The Nation, Poetry Magazine, American Poetry Review, and elsewhere. She lives in New York City, where she works as a literary assistant to the poet Gerald Stern. Please give it up for Chase.
Hi, everybody. So I'm Chase. I'm going to be reading some poems in like 3 segments. I'm going to read a poem from my book, Red, and then I'm going to share my screen and read a couple tiny poems, and then a couple other newer ones. So I'm going to read chapter 12 from Red. And all you need to know is that the poems in Red are erasures of Bram Stoker's Dracula. This is chapter 12. How shall I describe the wound? I was only a young girl. I cried and sobbed, hysterical. I would not talk. There was no place for me. I see no light in life. To be unconscious was as bad as blind obedience to the etiquette of death which governs a girl's life. Exhausted. I am exhausted. I cried. I cried. The best thing on this earth is a woman. God sends us men. when we want other satisfaction. My girl blood, my queer blood seemed to keep breaking down, the secret of my body coming out. A series of little shudders scattering my strength, the difference between sleeping and dying. In the afternoon, the sun was simply choking. I performed duty with all the moods and tenses of the verb. In accordance with the way of a wild beast, I could make men fear the same violent promises they made me. Forgive me. I am the angel of death. I do not speak, sleep stertorously. In the dim, some trick of light moved uneasily, a sort of flapping moonlight attracted by my struggle, the sissing indraw of light almost touching me. At the edge of sleep, I buried grief. I whispered with a tired child's voice. I hurled across the room my rage, like a shadow, faint, but with untellable pathos. Sobbing in a way that nearly broke me. Change had come. Death had given back part of her beauty. It was as if death might be dying. I stood and said, "Is it the end?" When I asked, she only answered, "Wait and see." So the next few poems I'm going to read are from a forthcoming chapbook called Somewhere a Seagull, and they are very short, so I am projecting them for you because when you just read them, you don't get the same effect. So these are excerpts from Somewhere a Seagull. Silent and alone atop a boulder in the center of a certain meadow, one thought, thin as green onion. All day spent in disbelief and wonder, mouth agog, lapping juice from the eyes of aspens. I was chewing over a few thoughts feebly, the thick scent of grass. I'd always known I was alone. Then suddenly I discovered how. Someone had felt a great pain. Months went by without a word. The stars, too, smiling, went. Egressing sockless and insecure, belly first into the outside world, hard I must either meet or avoid. Out loud, addressing the damp end of the afternoon. Body paused in a formal pose that summons desire instead of desire. We meet in the middle, wherever we travel. The won't we trade between us wants unraveling. I pretended to know how it felt, and then I actually felt it. These long years, I've been revising the same long letter addressed to your absence, the letter I. The dead, like August as much as I. Rose covered and bitchy, in pajamas from sun to sun, drawing my fabrics from right to left to leave alone the world. If in all this, there is somewhere still even one word left that matters, bury it. Somewhere, a seagull. Not even the breeze can say no. Not even the sail, No, softly drowning among the waved kerchiefs. Ate the good fruit of a bad tree. No more words now. The days and days are days, and imagine a great plain of grass and its colors, the calming dull greens. Imagine a single bee. And I will finish with a few newer poems. So this one is called Nostalgia. Whist is wetness, and why, wind, why? Go and gather quickly before every shadow has dispersed to everywhere but beside you. God governs only what happens while it happens. This want is wine of your own making. Loud, the quieter times, and quiet loudest still, and reach the branches that tree beside your bedroom window, growing to grasp you, though felled ago no less than half a decade. How a day so dear and treasured began with a fist in your face, skin to skin, even the memory of that sound somehow. Battery Park in winter. Near noon, in the city, in the park, in the salted air, in the cold cringing, 2 hands glued red to my cheeks. I give away comfort to get it back. Oh, look at the sun, I must say to myself over and over, so that I might look at the sun. I rent a language guide to hold my hand while I sit sneezing in home's direction. I am far away, but I can see the ocean, not so far. 9 children on the playground, 10 trees planted in a row so nice to be a swelling sleeper thinking at a jogger's pace. Bees born from my fingertips, burst toward all the dying life. To the sun god, after Friedrich Holderlin. Knees red from prayer, I sweat, I swear, I sick, I sorry skyward. I see a finger in my mirror aimed external, look, a little away, and there, look, a less expensive solution. I seep gratefully into words till words work as well as they will. I remain imperfect clay. I lay an egg. Sometimes the walled city of grief re-erects. Sometimes a door. God's hair peeks out slow, spurning trumpets. Beneath this light, yes, and I am willing. And this last one is so new, I wrote it like 3 days ago. And it is very tentatively titled Skiff, like a little boat. Do you know me? Night after night, I pulled the oar through the thick, dark juice of the Atlantic and arrived nowhere. Stars, my love. There are stars above the Atlantic just waiting. And I have my head, and it contains 2 halves of grapefruit. And you have my head, and it contains a 5th of rum. Ready your metal straw, my love. Sometimes it is summer, Sometimes the sweat freezes on my cheek. The beaches, lit up like late December in an imitation of the moon, the hatchling turtles misled and dead among the grasses. There is a single bullet singing through the sky tonight, my love. There is risk. There is mouth and muscle and history, worst of all in all its ugly versions. My recollections tend to reverberate off key. Most things I do not remember. But this, I know. Night after night, I pulled the net from the Atlantic fat with flies. I pulled the rope and at its end, there was an anchor. Night after night, stars, my love, waiting. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chase. That was beautiful. I feel like I said this to you in an email, but I'll say it publicly also, which is that every semester I have students, at least one, usually more than one, who read for the first time and find in it a kind of permission to be writers in a way that they had not found before. And so I very much admire your work and I'm glad you're in the world. And also it was lovely to hear what you've been up to since then. This is, yeah, it's really great. Thank you for being here. And so then I will try to make a pivot. I'm very bad at segues, but my last name is awkward. So I think that I'm allowed a little bit of room to be bad at segues. Our final reader for tonight is Golden, who is a really amazing poet who I will tell you about officially in a second. But the reason that I asked them to read with us tonight is largely because I feel like I had been having a long period of feeling not exactly like a person, as one does periodically. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to go to this reading that Golden had curated for Trans Day of Remembrance / Trans Day of Resilience. And it truly was like one of those moments where I felt like I had found myself in a world that I could conceive of myself living in. That's like not exactly a feeling I have very often. But so I had known Golden as a person on the internet. I'd known Golden as a poet, but I met them then as a curator of poets. And that made me sort of fall in love with their work even more. So that is why, or that is one of the reasons why they're here tonight. But officially, let me see if I can find officially, Golden is a Black, gender nonconforming, trans femme photographer, poet, teacher, and community organizer raised in Hampton, Virginia, currently residing in Boston. Golden has received many awards and fellowships, including ones from Pink Door, Best of the Net, and the Mass Cultural Council. They are the author of I don't know if it is newly out or soon forthcoming chapbook, A Dead Name That Learned How to Live from Game Over Books, and the photographic self-portraiture series on learning how to live, documenting Black trans life at the intersections of surviving and living in the US. You can find them on Instagram or through their website, which I will put in the chat. But until then, please join me in welcoming Golden.
Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, I'm super excited to be here. I'm just going to get my screen together. I'm going to be sharing some photos as well. I just want to make sure that that is up and running so I can still see y'all's beautiful faces and see the poems. Perfect. Okay. I'm just going to start the slideshow. Can you see the slideshow? Can you see the chat. Cool, cool.
Yeah.
I always have to just make sure. I feel like this is my like curatorial, like, hosts, stepping in. I'm like, okay, is the tech working? Is the tech working? All right, okay. Because if the tech is not working, it's not a show, right? But thank y'all for being here. And yeah, I'm just gonna be reading some poems from my upcoming chapbook, A Dead Name That Learned How to Live, and then also from this other manuscript that I've been working on called Reprise. I always have to drink a ton of water because it takes a lot of breath control to do these poems sometimes. So yeah, and when I get into the thick of it, I probably won't have that many segues. So I put them in the beginning and in the end of my little show. So thank you all for going on this journey with me. This is the first poem. It's called If I Was Being Honest. If I was being honest after Frank Ocean. If I was being honest, nigga, I want to know how to escape the ship and the shore side. The morning saccharine and the American sacrifice, the nigga loyalty and ordained lobotomies, adulthood is full of old shit. Scuttle happy adolescents who forget their niggas can't float in this dimension. My niggas only after Sunday, my nigga only after my mouth be a pulpit for people's daydreams of me. For my family's survival in the cemetery of me, and still these niggas be salved slipping down my East Coast, and still my mother mutates misconception with misunderstanding. She fears the nigga she's son is stillborn. Y'all, country and niggas want me in homes healing, but some niggas want me believing them a niggas that parts the pitted rivers of us without therapy. We are all countryless niggas, and still, I think if I die the beat in simple syrup, niggas will understand me. Every silly second of depression sarcophagus, every second heartbeat not surrounded by sibling nigga shit. My neurodivergent nigga shit, I'll be blunt at the end, probably because of repetition. Because a nigga don't want to be immortal, just want to make it to the joint at the end of the day, to niggas who take my body in their whole mouth and ask, ain't this God? Niggerly sanctification, I feel closest to dominion when I'm not talking about my mother in every poem. About becoming the woman niggas flee states to understand I don't take the train away to pray for us anymore, but I'm still trying to prove my niggas wrong about my pronouns, and I get it. Progress and reprogramming what niggas command, but I really want to be a God nigga sometimes so I can unmake people's memory of me. The nigga truth is I can't stand to sit by them salting my river wounds, but I don't say that because truth hurts niggas in my family. Truth is I had a backpack once behind the shed and my parents' permission. Behind the niggas I would have left, and truth is I would have left if I had a heaven to go to. A nigga-vana, I still face niggas who don't know I can feel the Earth's axis tilting every time I cross the Mason-Dixon, because we don't get to choose who our niggas are or who our demons are, but I want to choose how to remember my angels remember me. My nigga, how their ancestors found the sea, because I remember every commandment I've broken. Every night when I walked to the 7 off Bethel, off Parkway, out the woods to spend our last nigga nights nickeling our subway fare so we can belong in new cities. I've learned to say nigga. I don't like repeating myself instead of I'm hurting by my shoreline, nigga, because I can find my mother tongue buried in me sometimes. I've known Hampton since I can spell, nigga, and it's still feeling Ferrari foreign now. Like the Polaroids nigga used to window at the public library, Northampton might still know me as its nigga because we can both tilt our head back to the past and still look at ourselves the same. But blood niggas, my family don't lift off on feelings alone. Memories get coined, tokenized, niggered, and still I believe in the future. There are other niggas' Bibles being written in this dimension. Because I'm gonna have a nigga's kids one day. Kids who love their uncles, who call me mom, who look down on me one day and say, Golden, I found the sea, my nigga. This next poem is The Low Down Nigga Calls My Glow a Faggot. He think he a sharpshooter, darting at me with all this teethless talk. But I seen the way he comes out at night, a base jaw ajar waiting for slobber, pants at his ankles, his body molts when I ain't one of his quiet toys, when I been just inside the grasp of his frame. There ain't no surprise why he don't pull out his knot and stretch me over his gizzard mouth. Low down niggas love to call me out my name. Forget they used to chase me round the block, hunt me down in their bedrooms. He says grown like he knows what that is. He licked the static off my shine last week, head in high praise as my nectar dribbled down his throat. I can still smell my dew on his hardwood floors, on his burlap altar, on his blasphemous breath. He claims to know me better than my shadow does. I made a son from my shade and this nigga ain't never been my daddy. He ain't even been the perspiration on Jesus' brow. A nigga puts his mouth on your spout and thinks he becomes what you prayed for. Forgets I defy gravity. Forgets I push the air when I slide in the room. Forgets I love to tell God what he didn't do right the first time. I never swallow to live. I dirty wine with the moon and suns shower me in golden orchards when they bones are stiff and ripe. You wish you could annihilate me. Split me down the arc of my spine, but I, the fetish boys, try to wash off their third eye. I make them flaming flamingo, scorched banshee, howling martini, a bursting driftwood, throat deep like mine. I am that nigga with no hunger. I am that bitch who lives past dusk and dirt. Twin for twin. Bitch, you are improper to love. You are impossible to gun without the world watching me turn to genocide. I'd be a criminal for life sentences, say less if they want me to prove it. This nation knows not what it birthed. Beasts have human etymologies. Even evil sounds treasonous to our tread. They've only seen vibrations of hell, only seen victims as goats, twins be omniscient like light. My hands travel area code, speak to tongues. We worship God because we worship intravenously. Once I dreamt you tuned and decided enough trying to breathe kneeling, to convince humans to humans, mother to mother, or womb warrior. Or worse, sisters separated. Even our family don't want us talking about childhood loss, about our country lessons. Even our brother don't want us at war without him. Fear faces every photo of us at Granny's house. We say we ratchet so people can hold the weight of our weapons preamble. Oh, say, can you see the warning? The wishing for this end to be psychology. What if therapists apologize? What if healing could horizon home? I give giving up. I give speeches to the sky. There will be no here left after your heaven. What's to save? This world would be. This is some newer poems. This is And When They Come For Me reprise. If we were born bees, never will we wonder if we needed men tomorrow. Have you ever thought about it? How purpose isn't west or east. How God might be another word for family in the South. Our Black auntie's only synonym for free. In the North, we say seahorses are trans and no one goes hunting for them in the ocean. Lord, my granny cries out every time a bee sees her front porch. I used to be afraid of needles too, but now I'm more afraid to die by loneliness and meat. Summer, this is the first year I haven't migrated since 17, and still I have tree branches tucked in my throat. I can make a new house while everyone sleeps. I think I'm a bad birdie, zzz, zzz. I'm a buzz light years away from language and a land name. I'm scared to say it. Holding you makes me feel infinite, impossible to gut or gorge. I hope there is a dimension where I believe in standing still with someone's sin and glory. When I die, give my brain to the bottom of a hand-dug flower bed, where the dogwood tree splits the pink until I root a stem again. Father, son, I want to be somewhere singing through the wooden door of my name-made house with a maiden name. Ask my mother, we're going on vacation to other worlds within ourselves. I hope you can run. Oh, look, the sun's coming out, Granny. Bees, the chainsaw is still in the shed. Can I carry you to safety? Holding someone makes me feel innocent. Lover, where's direction? Where's the sin? I made it home. This is the same title poem. Actually, I'm gonna play this video first and then I'll do the next poem.
I'm going to answer that question from my own personal point of view. I love being Black. I am proud to be Black. I know there are lots of forces out there want me to feel like this is something to be ashamed of, but I refuse to be ashamed of it. It's a color that I own. It's a privilege to be that, and I carry it with pride. I'm going to answer.
This is And When They Come For Me, reprise actor Jeanette Smith. This is for my family. America, even when you sing bombs bursting in air, I know there is a good Milky Way God, reversed and paralleled. A sweet Orion eye bring to our ears an arrow towards just for Black girls who never got to stay with the same name. We always look good in an ivory-skinned summer. In a river wash gown, death is the darkest hour for those who live thinking they don't belong here as a criminal, as a savior, as a skull sibling in an earth return, as a daughter in a dove. I'm never alone, even when I'm in the mouth of sharks, because I'm kin to serpents. We retrieve our supper to shed new shields, almighty worlds. Islands are misfit men and menaces. You can have someplace and never find my heaven. I am home in the arms of the armed. I am home in thee. Mouths of mothers, I am home, and no one is afraid to end. You will always be my subject, Black heaven. Black people, we are never without wings. And I'm just gonna do two more. This is Hometown Glory after Adele. I'm fake, because I've been companions with the same good, same dark-gummed niggas, ravens, dope girls since Pariah and the ADHD prognosis. And somehow think I'm going to escape my hometown anniversary. I'm running away when I know the answer to why I wish more days began quoted in quotidian quiet. With soliloquies from my mother about how she misses Christmas dinners at daddy's house, back when we wore family out by darting the dozens. When can we make laughter our dominion again? Must we always decide between a country and our childhood? I deserve to be a daughter. And my grandmother deserves more days where she can remember the German chocolate cake recipe better than any Pocomoke praise dancer could. My God, my home is North and South, skull and city skull, bone and breast milk from the most marvelous magicians this world and ever called mother. Who is any Pocomoke boy? Who is any man who's not held my granny by the back and told her we are blessed, you chose us? Yes, my family were pretty, but not a picture. We petty shredded our teeth against each other's necks. We rolled through sundown kingdoms and tore down school systems. Hell, there's an alternate universe where we killed to set one another free. Golden because it belonged to my birth. to my pop-pop's morning prayer, to my father and I's soul silence diaspora dubs. Do we ever make it back from our origin stories? To the earth where our uncles rest, a porch holler away, Unionville, my always North Star. My better Black nebula, I don't know geography nor gender any better than I did in the 90s. Find me here, singing Jill Scott, living my life like we know my name. How am I doing on time? Just to check. I'm doing good. Okay, I don't wanna take too much time. I'm gonna do some newer poems. Those are all poems from my chapbook, and I'm gonna stop sharing my screen now because I would like to see you all while I do these last two. But thank you for going through that ride with me. It's the first time I've shared some of the photos from the book. I could not come here without doing some new poems that were on my chest. And I'm just gonna leave with this last one. This is a newer poem, and I wrote this during the pandemic. And this poem is called Heaven Falls in Reverse. Hell, I can't help but wonder if this is the wrong war. Calvary keeps gathering children, grief. You keep hiding friends. I am defeated by love a lot because there are a million mapped ways to divide wills. What more could I sing for you, death god? How great is your good wisdom if we can't give it to win our freedom? Angels, can you hear the answers? Skyscrapers, what season is sacrifice? Earth, I never left warriors, not even a Christ lesson. Listen to all the words we imprisoned, we multiplied in the fields for you. You learned to eat your ends, body and bread, and call that a fulfilled heaven. Hell, I can't help but wonder if this is war. Calvary keeps gathering grief. You keep hiding friends. I am defeated by a lot because there are mapped ways to wills. What more could I for you, God? How great is your wisdom if we can't give it to our angels? Can you hear the skyscrapers? What is earth? I never left, not even a lesson. Listen to all the imprisoned we in the fields for you. Learn to eat your body and bread and call that a heaven. Hell, help the wrong children, friends. Love a million, divide, sing death, good win, freedom answers, season sacrifice, earth, warriors, Christ, words multiplied you, ends, fulfilled heaven. And that's the end. Thank you so much. Oh, I forgot to, I was supposed to say something about the chaplet. I'm sorry, I missed that at the end. But there's a chaplet coming out, and sorry, that Belladonna is gonna be publishing, and the chaplet is gonna feature, I'm gonna be like, giving the, opening up the space to other Black trans artists who don't have a forthcoming chapbook or book coming out. And so the list right now, let me just pull up, sorry, it's, Tiana Bratcher, Justice Amir, Amani Davis, Yaz Lancaster, and I feel like I'm missing one more person. Oh yeah, Julissa Emile. So that'll be featured in the chaplet coming out from Belladonna series. So thank y'all so much again.
Well, this was amazing. Thanks for coming, everybody. Thanks again to our readers. Cameron,
Yeah.
thank you. And your segues.
Yeah, my bad segues.
No, we love them. And what would we do without them?
I don't know. Anyway, Golden, that was great. It was great to, I don't know, I feel like I met you a little bit during that reading. And so it was great to meet you. There's such good music in your poems. Yeah, thank you everybody for hanging out with us in this digital room. I think that's all we have, unless someone from Belladonna, is there an outro that you want us to be doing? No?
I was just gonna say, am I here? Yes. that we'll be announcing the chaplets when they're ready to order, when we are ready to ship them on our Instagram and in our newsletter and on our website and on Facebook and all those places. So make sure that you're in touch with us there so you can hear when these chaplets are ready to buy. They're going to be 3 very special and very unique ones, I think. This is a really great reading series that Zoe is curating with friends and Cam. And this is like, I don't know, this reading blew my mind. So that was my little personal summation of my feelings after the chaplet announcement. Thank you.